Started off as such a monumental game. Once upon a time, Modern Warfare 2019 did so much right with their weapon features that we really have never seen in the Call of Duty franchise. The guns felt way more realistic, not as realistic as PUBG, but way more than the older games nonetheless. Down the line though, during Warzone's emergence, the new features that we love so much kind of just gradually fell apart. So for today's video, it's a little different than my typical gameplay. I want to talk about why the metas have ruined, or I don't want to say ruined, but made Warzone a lot less enjoyable than it once was. Not that it is enjoyable now, but I think it could be a lot better, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, then leave a like and hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see you guys' thoughts in the comment section. I'm sure it'll be a little controversial topic, but I'm sure more of you will agree with me than disagree, because who likes R9 shotguns flying around Warzone? So when Modern Warfare was released, we saw an array of weapon options to enjoy the game with, and whether it was multiplayer or Warzone, we had plenty of guns at our disposal. On top of that, we were given an overwhelming number of attachments to even choose from. And overwhelming, I mean that in a good way. But this wide variety just added a new element to the game where we could pretty much endlessly mess with our guns, and you could feel the diversity in the gameplay between players. But at the time of Warzone's release, like during Season 1, there was never really a must-use gun, or this one AR is a must-use. So like for ARs, you had the Kilo, you had the Old Faithful M4, you had the M13, you had the Odin. Those are pretty much your best options. They did the Scar and the AK-47 pretty dirty, but we won't talk about that. But SMGs, you could pretty much use any of them. The PV Bison was even good at that time. They were closely balanced, and pretty much the same thing with the LMGs and the snipers. Point is, the game was very balanced. There was never really a gun you had to worry about someone having. Even when Season 2 came around and the Grau was released, as OP as the Meta Grau was, most players could still manage a gunfight with the ARs that I mentioned earlier. However, we did see a shift in the gameplay, and suddenly everyone started using the Grau, and it took months to see a nerf. Again, the Grau was manageable, but it still said something that everyone was using it. So we saw less diversity in people's gun choices, and it was no longer about what is a fun and effective setup that I can use on my guns, and it was more about making the Archangel Grau with a 50-60 round clip. But then the Bruin kicked in, and that's when things started to go downhill. Unlike the Grau, the Bruin you could use from 100 meters out. The Bruin had zero recoil, erased people from range with the VLK scope. It took squads out in one clip with 60 to 100 bullets. At that point, the nicknames came in for Warzone, such as Bruin Warfare. You know you messed up something when people named the game after a gun. Along with that, the FAL meta kicked in. So basically imagine having a single shot AR being used as the #1 SMG in the game. But same thing with the Grau, it took months to see a nerf, and there was somewhat of a balance at that time. And when they did nerf it, it was a big sigh of relief, even from the biggest streamers that play this game. But if you want to talk about a gun that was added to the game that was done right, that would be the AMAX 5.56. It was a very strong AR, however it had its cons with its recoil. Now I play on PS4, so there was definitely more recoil than for PC players, but I still think it was done correctly. But pretty much immediately the AMAX was put to the top of the list, but you had to actually be pretty good to use it. But if you weren't good at it, then you probably didn't like it at all. But after the Grau and the Bruin nerf, the range game was actually pretty fairly balanced. For a long time, as a matter of fact, we saw most players rocking a lot of different guns. We saw the Kilo a lot, we saw the AMAX, the M4, the M13, even the Odin. The Bruin was still used, the PKM. At some point, the Ram started to get used a lot. The SMGs never really ever got out of hand. The MP5 was usually the top dog in that category, but you could put up a close fight with the P90 and the MP7, so I can never really complain about the SMGs. Snipers are never really a problem either. However, I do believe the HDR and the X50 should get buffed, because what sniper takes 3 body shots to kill someone? So then came Season 5, and after a double Bruin nerf, we thought we were free in Season 5. And by the way, I want to mention the FAL, it was actually quickly nerfed after its buff, but the Bruin literally had to take 2. But anyways, as we thought we were free in Season 5, we were pretty much wrong. The range battle was actually doing great until you entered a building and you were greeted by an Origin 12 shotgun. The Origin 12 actually might be a close run-up for the worst meta in Warzone's infamous list of metas. With the Origin 12 buffed out of its mind, you pretty much could casually walk into a building and wipe out an entire team back to the main menu, unless of course one or all of them had Origin 12s to counter that. And this was probably the case. Pretty much everyone was using it. We quickly saw the MP5 and the MP7 lose its top reign at the close range gun section, and it was pretty much put in the shadows of the Origin 12. And that is when I believe Warzone truly went towards the wrong direction. And if you didn't have the Origin 12 class setup, like I said, with the long barrel and the 12 round mag or whatever it was, and the choke, then you were always at a disadvantage no matter how skilled you were. Because I can say, for example, I was at a 405 KD during that time when the Origin 12 was at its peak, and I quickly saw that dip all the way down to 3.9. And the reason why I went down so much because I never used the metas. It took away what Modern Warfare did so well, and why put so many guns and attachments in a game if they're all going to be overshadowed by one single gun? Of course, the Origin 12 is not a long range, so you can still use those ones, but in terms of SMGs and close range, it was overshadowed. Now you're probably wondering, well, why are you complaining if you can just use it as well? That's true, but where's the fun in using one gun for 2 straight months when I have so many other options, like I said? There's minimal skill involved in using meta guns, and the top players can tell you the same exact thing, and I feel like I'm proving nothing if I use the metas. Now, of course, if you're in a tournament, you might want to use the metas, but most of us aren't competitive players, we're casuals. Now, speaking of shotguns, the Origin 12 had a little friend right on its tail named the R9 shotgun, aka the Doof Doof. Need I say more? A quick shooting, fire-breathing shotgun that would kill your enemies even as you were already down. Good ticket, Infinity Ward. Both these guns took months. I think a total of 4 months combined between the two. We saw about 4 months of the Origin and the R9 shotgun just taking over Warzone. Now, the reason why I'm making this video today is because now that the new Cold War guns have come in, we're seeing huge nerfs to the old Modern Warfare guns and giant buffs to the DMR, MAC-10, and Type 63, the new guns. Now, the gameplay, you are going to see me use a DMR and a MAC-10, but these ones are different than the old ones. Before, I feel like I didn't really have to use them because I could still kill someone with a Kilo or the AMAX, RAM, whatever. There was still some sort of comparison between the guns. Now you can't even use an AR against these guns. They're literally irrelevant in comparison. You essentially have to use those 3 guns, or your chances are basically slim to none in one-on-ones, let alone fighting a squad. I seriously believe the game needs the same balance that it once had in Season 1, where you could pretty much use any gun and not worry about what the other person has to use. It would make the game more tolerable and interesting. Of course, the game is almost at its 1-year mark and people will leave due to playability, but that could all be fixed with the new map, weather, maybe even seasonal effects, kind of like what PUBG has. I think PUBG does a lot of things right, except for the fact that it just feels so old, but that's a different subject. Anyways, I hope I didn't come off too whiny in today's video. I just truly think there should never be a supreme gun. I'm sure a lot of you agree. I'm sure a lot will disagree. Either way, I hope to see you guys in the next video. I hope to see Warzone make some changes for the better in the near future, and I hope to release more content for you guys to enjoy. In the meantime, happy gaming, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah,
Sure.
there was no one on.
He's dead, bro. Think?
You can lose your row.
Yeah.
You might be able.
Damn.
People just drove all around this shit. So, oh no.
Oh my god.
Man.
I load out.
Whatever. It's fine.
That sucks.
Holy fuck. Oh, he went backwards after you shot him. Fuck. He didn't know where the hit marker was from. Yeah, glitched the bus.
Oh, what are these? Oh, my eye itches so bad.
Less than 10 enemies remain.
Oh, to your left.
Movement.
Oh, up top, up top, up top. Nice. Holy shit, airstrike this. Actually, no, don't waste it. Oh, okay.
Moving left.
That gun is retarded. Holy shit.
If you literally just hit the headshot, it's game over. I don't know if people will see me right here.
Gotta move.
Yeah.
You're right. Remember, that guy top green knows you're there, Simmer.
Does he though?
It's almost coming out from the right. Yeah, I mean, you downed him.
I downed a guy on that red mark.
Oh, to your left, to your left, Sam, to your left, Sam, to your left.
Good call.
Out here too. Dude, we gotta move in. This is not gonna be good.
It's a 1v2, v2. No, 1v3, v2. 3 to your right, and 1 to your left.
Up here. Top.
No,
right
to
there.
the left.
No, oh, it's a 2v2, v2. 2v2.
Oh my god. Guy top green's in to the right. Might jump down.
Don't see him. I got one kill from the left.
1v2v2. They have to get off that building on the right. And this kid has to come into the street on your left.
I'll watch left.
They're sniping him from up top. Now they have to jump off. They just jumped off. Oh no, they didn't. I'm wrong. I didn't realize it's still
Kevin
up to
in these woods.
Alright, 2v2. 2v1. That's a game over. So fuck.
This gun is ridiculous, bro. I think I hit a headshot on every kill in the end.
Holy shit, that was wild.
Well, that's a good game to end it on.
Gotta keep playing, bro.
I'm really not tired, but I mean, I probably you know, about 4 a.m.
Did you die that game?
One more.
No.
I don't think you died. It's a 22 KD.
One more.
Alright. I feel naughty.
Yeah, bro, you can't stop after that.
No, I can feel naughty using that gun.